Welcome to the Crypt of Wax, where we cover the latest metal releases. Today, we are talking Evoken, Mendacium, veterans, Mike, of the Death Doom, Funeral Doom world, right?
They are, aren't they? Aren't they one of sort of like the sort of last ones still going of that sort of, I'm guessing, first wave Funeral Doom, if it was sort of early 90s.
Yeah, man. Very influential in the scene. Formed in '92, I think, and then their first demo was
Yeah.
'94, which is crazy. And what's even more crazy is like to release something now, like it's unheard of almost that like 30-year-old bands release something and it's so good. But listen, I've jumped the gun a little bit. What we do here is we kind of
Yeah, doesn't he?
we pick an album off air and we kind of don't talk about it off air. We just want to save the conversation here. So I've kind of let go about a little earlier about what I think of this. But Mike, I know Death Doom doesn't necessarily excite you as, not to say you're not a fan, but it doesn't get you going as much, right?
I think this is what you're going, because I did say to you about when we picked this album that I sometimes struggle with the motivation to get into a Death Doom album, because it does take up a lot of your time in a listen. You can't. I feel like like an album like this, you have to listen to the whole thing, really.
Yep.
Um, this album's over an hour long.
Yeah.
Each song's of the bulk of the songs are 9-10 minutes. So for me, sometimes it's getting that motivation together to do it. Especially sometimes you get a studio Death Doom album, and there's not a great deal going on besides kind of very slow death metal riffs. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it could be. I think it's one of those sub genres where it can be sometimes hard for bands to kind of either set themselves aside or have something about them that elevates them to make you really listen to it and really get into what they're doing.
And do you think this has hit that?
Yeah, I do actually.
So yeah, I mean, this when we decided to do this, I kind of read a little bit about it before I even listened to it. I'll just read out quickly kind of the lore of the album from their Bandcamp. Mendacium tells the tale of a 14th century elder Benedictine monk with malady from illness preventing him from leaving his room within the monastery he dwells within. His faith and service to God can never be satiated. Slowly declining in health and sleepless from continuous pain, the monk encounters a hideous entity emerging through a tear in reality. The story questions: is the torment of this monk by each passing hour being inflicted by this entity, or is it all within his own mind? Normally, Mike, I don't really give a shit about lore in albums and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't really. I just kind of like, okay, give me the songs. But something about this really drew me in.
It's quite a cool. It's quite a cool story, isn't it? You know, that's quite a cool kind of plot.
Yeah,
You know.
cool concept.
No, did it say it was based on? I might have missed this, John. Did they? Did they? Is this lore something they made up, or is it based on an old story, or what?
I,
What
I
did it
it
say?
doesn't. I don't think it says. I believe it's something they've just sort of come up with.
That's cool. Very cool.
Very cool, man. And then it's apparent, like, kind of from the artwork as well. Like the whole, it just, I don't know, man. The package of it is really great. And then as soon as you hit play, man, it's that that overwhelming feeling of like bleak and oppression and just heaviness comes straight through with the production, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it's huge, man. The production, but it doesn't feel overly polished, right?
Well, I'll say this though. I don't know if I've ever heard a drum kit that's been soaked in more reverb than
Yeah,
uh, than this one. It's fucking mad how much, and I like it.
yeah.
It's cool. It's so over the top, drenched, but actually doesn't lose. It still has the impact though, which is really cool. But it's, I mean, I feel like you can hear it kind of coming off the kick drum and all sorts. Like it's like the whole kit's been
Yeah.
absolutely drowned in it, but it works really really well.
It almost sounds like it was recorded within this 14th century monastery, doesn't it? It has just that like big, very
Yeah,
roomy, very like you can imagine it being played in like a stone room almost. That's how reverb heavy it is. But
yeah.
I think that again, I just think it kind of all ties in with the package. I think it's
Yeah.
I think it's done really well. The guitar tones as well, man. I think the use of affected guitars on like especially like the cleaner sections, really just added like a level of sonics that like they could kind of go from like the super heavy oppressive bleakness, but then like really switch the sonics up to have this kind of like ethereal, almost like cleaner sound, almost on a dime as well. They do it quite quickly.
Well, what they did really well was they kind of mixed the two at the same time as well. So you'd have a heavy riff, and then particularly in track one, I really enjoyed it. They sort of would bring in these kind of, they were almost fairly discordant, clean
Yeah,
sort of strums over parts as well, which I thought was really good at kind of like mixing in the atmosphere over the top of the heavy riffs. I think they had like a piano and stuff going off over that too. Um,
yeah.
and that, yeah, yeah, and you're right. It then meant that when they then went into those clean sections, or when they did a couple of songs that were a little bit shorter, they were more. I don't want to say interludes, but they were
Instrumentals.
instrumentals. Yeah, but they were cleaner, overall clean songs, and they fit within the sound. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like a real jump from heavy to that, because there was this sort of continual use of kind of clean guitars mixed in with the heavy kind of throughout.
Yeah, man, and yeah, like you touched on, like the pianos and synths as well. There was a lot of use of synths in
Yeah,
this.
really cool Sims.
And man, they sounded amazing. Track seven, no, track five. We'll talk about that when we get there. Sext. I loved the synth on that, but yeah, like you said, track one was great. There was a lot of changing in paces. It was predominantly slow, but you did have injections of that kind of like Death Doom going on. That would kind of
Not much though. It felt like it was in track one was kind of the main time I can really think of where you heard them actually go on to kind of death metal blast beats. I don't know if they did it on any other part of the album. I can't
there
remember.
was a couple moments. There was a couple moments on the end, but it wasn't as prevalent as it within track one. But
Yeah.
I liked that. And then for me, like I think every song was amazing, but track two is almost where like it felt like the album had arrived in a way. Like it,
Mm.
track one kind of almost set the scene, like you kind of knew what you were not knew what you were getting, but you know it built up to kind of show you what was on offer. But then track two, man, when that opening riff comes in, it's so heavy, and then they kind of switch up the sonics to that kind of clean picked guitar with that whispered vocal. It just really gave it like, yeah, atmosphere is like the main, like one of my main takeaways
Yeah.
from this, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Then yeah, track three was what you were talking about, one of those like instrumentals. I think it
Yeah.
almost sounded like Middle Eastern, didn't it? It had that kind of
Yeah, had like like a sitar maybe, or I don't know, some kind of traditional Middle Eastern sort of instrument.
yeah,
Over the top. Yeah, it had that sort of feel, which again kind of fit with the overall package of the artwork and stuff.
yeah, man. It really like transported your mind to that kind of
Yeah,
that feel. But yeah, man, I loved that instrumentation. And what I loved is that they actually kind of revisited some of those like Middle Eastern chord note progressions later on in the album. But yeah,
yeah.
man, track four, Terse. This one felt like the most oppressive and bleak one, in my opinion. It was, I don't know what about it, but it was like, I don't know, it just gave an overall sense of like dread. And there was like a sort of a speed up section at around 5 minutes. I mean, it's crazy talking about like what moments come happen because it was each track is like 10 minutes long. But yeah, around 5 minutes, there was like a speed up moment where the kind of it would almost double time, but there was a synth that came over the top, and it was just, man, it was just such a good moment.
Well, there was a bit before that, about 3 minutes, where there was a change where it went onto the toms and it went onto this really simple riff. But I felt like that felt like the pace. There was like a pace change in that as well, where it was sort of speeding up too.
Yeah,
Um, that song in particular, it fades in,
yeah.
and you have this like, it's quite melodic on a pick chord, but then when it kicks in, it sounds fucking massive. It's so huge. Um, yeah,
Yeah, so
very
the
good.
end of this song was actually where they do go a bit more death metal again.
Yeah,
Because I think there was a section, yeah, around 6 minutes where everything kind of drops out and it goes to like a clean moment, and you've got this kind of like singing moment. And
yeah,
it did feel like you were listening to someone kind of losing their mind a little bit. And then when it all comes back in, there's like a chaotic death metal moment with like a really like dizzying solo, and it almost really like does hit you over the head of that kind of like despair, crazy like moment going on. Then, Mike, we go into track 5, Sext, which
Sexual text.
sexual text, yeah, horny monk text sext me back. I I think this was my favorite. This was my standout song. There was so like the first, it was almost split into two halves, right? This song, the first half was like you had like a kind of synth intro. The sound bit was amazing. It had like a real sci-fi kind of scape to it, but kind of
Yeah.
fit the world. Then you had like a kind of goth like picked guitar motif with a kind of softer vocal. It really reminded me of Typo Negative. It was had that real like kind of 90s goth feel to it. But then almost
Yeah.
exactly on the halfway point, it switched up entirely and it went to almost, it reminded me of Isis. It had that kind of single note riff with like a huge sounding like build up bit. It was like a real slow headbang moment. It's just super loud, super heavy. But then my favorite part on the album was coming up, Mike. 7 minutes 20. They There's a really slow beat, but like the double kick is just going crazy, and there's these super unnerving synths that are happening over the top of it.
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah,
Fuck, man, I thought that bit was like
yeah,
incredible.
yeah. It's fucking cool. Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, man,
yeah. It was it was a great song. I felt like that song in particular really mixed the kind of light and dark
yeah,
in there as well. It sort of and the vocals, as you mentioned, they were kind of had this sort of creepiness to it.
yeah,
Um, and it's really cool, man. And that one, yeah, that you're right in splitting into sections because you kind of 4 or 5 minutes with this like sort of long, kind of more mellow kind of build before the kind of heavy guitars kick in.
yeah,
Like it really builds like that. It almost feels like if you didn't see the runtime that it's going to be maybe more of an interlude, instrumental type song before it does actually kick in.
yeah.
Um, which actually is that the next song? Is the next one? No, no.
No, so yeah, the
Um,
next one is Non, which this is where they sort of reintroduce that Middle Eastern
yeah,
progression. And this song was strange, man, because it went quite uplifting at like around 4:50. It went almost like the lead line, the melody reminded me of Ruins of Beverast. You had like the double kick going, and you had like a
yeah,
chuggy note. But it like one thing this band does really well is like, yeah, they mix up like either sonics of like soft and heavy or fast and slow, but they can also within a riff inject, like it will sound really minor and evil and sad and like oppressive and bleak, but they'll just chuck in a couple major notes within that riff, and it will
yeah.
really like brighten up the whole thing, but then almost then go straight back into being something really quite evil and dark.
Well, I love that part actually because I think leading up to you had the Simps come in over the riff,
Mm,
and I think they used the Simps to kind of almost change that mood, if you know what I mean. They started them earlier, but then when they changed it because they had the Simps in there as
yeah,
well, it sort of facilitated that change to make it sound sort of more triumphant, more kind of um yeah, upbeat, not upbeat, but you know
like
what I mean.
it was just like uplifting in a
Uplifting, yeah,
weird way, wasn't
yeah,
it? Even though it was still really like oppressive and heavy, it
yeah.
did have that kind of, yeah, not triumphant, but that, yeah, uplifting thing.
Uplift, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Then then it goes into that synthy interlude. I say interlude, I mean this track was what, 3 minutes 40
Oh, it's
43.
fucking it was lovely as well. I really enjoyed
It
that.
was such a nice break, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But what I thought was great about it was it really built up almost anticipation for the final song. Like it did feel
Mm.
almost like a calm before the storm in a way. Like you knew something was going to come, and then yeah, then it goes into the final track, Compline track 8, which
That's heavy as fuck, is it, when it kicks in at
yeah,
the beginning?
man. I mean, and it was a great ender. It was a great ender, and
Yeah. It might be my highlight as well. I really enjoyed that one.
really, I
There was a cool little pace change bit in that quite early on, which I didn't quite expect them to do. Do you know the bit I mean? It was about sort of 1 minute 45.
I haven't got it noted down, but yeah, I mean, Fate. I mean, they do it so well though, and they do it throughout. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Um,
Anyway, go on. What are you gonna say?
no, I was just gonna say like, so like Death Doom can sometimes, like you said, just rely on that kind of more death side of it and be a little bit one note. I haven't been this excited in a kind of like funeral Death Doom album since Mirror Reaper, probably, which is like quite a while ago. But like something about this is, for me anyway, like it just screamed special. Like I knew like by track two, I was like, this is actually going to be something incredible, and it didn't. It didn't stop. It just kept coming and coming. Oh,
What I really liked about, and you touched on it earlier, is I love the goth influence
yeah,
throughout. I thought that was, for me, that part that they were adding to was the bit that sort of elevated it to to something more than your sort of standard Def Doom album. I thought that was the bit that was adding the atmosphere. You know, you had all those synths going all the time, those like clean kind of affected guitars and all that reverb and stuff. I thought it was that aspect of it that really kind of pushed this album to that sort of level.
yeah. For me, man, it was everything. I think like the production, the just the songwriting, the just the sonic balance of like heavy to light, and the vocals as well. I thought the vocals were amazing.
Vocals were cool,
His
yeah.
like deep growl was so like low and like brutal, but
Mm.
his like his singing or his kind of whispered bit added that kind of like despair and like bleakness to everything.
Well, the thing is, he didn't, because he varied it. He didn't stay on one particular style of his for too long.
Mm,
So there was that really nice vocal variation throughout.
yeah.
Um, yeah, no, it was great, man. It was a really a really good album.
This I know it's you that normally says this, Mike, but I think this is actually going to get into my album of the year contender top three for sure. This I've been obsessed
Could
with
be
it.
top one. Could be number one.
I mean, it could be. I've been obsessed with it, man, since we started.
Really?
Yeah, I've like non-stop just had it on.
Can we mention the artwork briefly? Because it's quite interesting, the artwork, and there's like there's parts of it that's sort of, it's quite bizarre. Like, you know how like the book
Yeah, yeah,
almost doesn't look, doesn't look like blended into the,
yeah. Well, I've had this conversation with someone else. It looks superimposed almost. It doesn't look like it was
it
in the
does,
painting initially.
well, it almost gives it it almost gives it an AI feel, which I know it's not, like, but the fact that it just doesn't fit at all, because it's like it looks like it's a shadow sort of dark area, and then you got this book that's totally unaffected by it. But when you talk about a kind of lore of the album, it then makes you think: is that sort of adding this almost like dreamlike
Yeah,
sort of madness kind of element to it?
I mean potentially, and like, is he actually bleeding? Is he really going through what he's going through? Like, I don't know, man. The more I actually look at it, the more I enjoy that it is quite contrasts and
Yeah,
stands out,
no,
and it gives it something like initially you're like,
yeah.
oh shit, that's interesting.
Well, it was weird. I just remember at first thinking, like, it's really odd, but it's obviously intentional, because
Mm.
it'd be fucking mad if it wasn't.
Yeah, because the actual painting itself is genuinely like great. So I don't think that I don't think it's a skill issue. You know, I think they
No, but but was this added? Is this painting done for the album,
I
or
believe so. I believe so.
okay?
Yeah, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I bought this on vinyl, Mike.
Did
Yeah, I'm
you?
waiting for it to come, man. I'm obsessed with it. I can't wait to kind of see it and look inside it. It's going to be great.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh. Anyway.
Let's wait for that to drop.
Yeah, I do that.
Cool.
Yeah, man. So listen,
On that note,
yeah, listen, if you got to this point in the
on that
video,
lewd note,
if you got to this point in the video, give a like and a subscribe because it does help us out a lot. But yeah, we put out videos every Wednesday and Friday covering the latest metal releases. Let us know if you check this one out, like what you think about it, what you enjoyed about it, because for me, I think it's everything in the package. I just can't get enough of it.
well, I was going to say, John, I think you're going to be waiting a while for their next album, because it looks like they take quite a break between them, don't they? It's like 7 years between this one and the one before, and then
It was 6 before that, 5 before
six
that.
before that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, we'll see. I'm actually going to dive back into the previous album because I haven't really done their discography. So I mean, although I'm super excited with this one, I could just keep listening to this one. But yeah,
keep going with this one.
true to Death Doom fashion, we have stretched this episode out for quite a lengthy
Got to do it.
number. So yeah,
Got to do it.
we will catch you in the next one.